Below is your Bont Original exclusive, completely rewritten. YouTube voiceover script. 560 words. It follows all requirements. New names, new places, new details. American storytelling tone, emotional arc, cinematic dialogue, 3-act structure, smooth punctuation. No overuse of periods, strong hook strong. CTA 1400 to 1700 words. YouTube voiceover script 560 words. American conversational cinematic emotional pacing, no unnecessary line breaks. If you've ever been judged before you even opened your mouth, you'll understand exactly how this story starts. Picture this, Tuesday morning, 10:42 a.m., high up in the first-class cabin of Redwood Air Flight 219. I had just settled into seat 1C with my coffee still burning my fingers when a voice behind me snapped through the air like someone had yanked a curtain open. Get up. That seat's not yours. Not a question, not a misunderstanding, a command. And something inside me knew this wasn't going to be one of those problems you fix with a smile and an apology. The woman barking orders was Mrs. Holland Price, the kind of person you can hear before you see. Crisp white blazer pearls thick enough to tow a boat, hair sprayed into a shape that probably had its own zip code. Her husband, Grant, hovered beside her like a bodyguard for her ego, and the target of their anger. A quiet guy sitting in 1A, the window seat. That was Leon Hale. Now, Leon didn't look like the type of person you'd find on magazine covers or splashed across business journals. Just a tall black man in a navy hoodie reading from a beat-up tablet covered in old stickers. But you know how sometimes a person carries themselves with a kind of quiet, earned confidence, like they've been through too much to be bothered by nonsense? That was him. Mrs. Price didn't see that. She saw someone she assumed didn't belong. "This seat is mine," she snapped, pointing at him with a manicured finger that looked dangerously sharp. "We booked row 1 months ago. I'm not arguing about this." Leon looked up, blinked once, and stayed calm in a way that made the rest of us look dramatic by comparison. "Ma'am," he said. Voice steady. "My ticket says 1A. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be." But she wasn't hearing it. You could feel it. Prejudice wrapped in politeness but leaking through every syllable. And Grant chimed in too, shrugging like it was all just common sense. "Look, buddy, maybe you got upgraded or something. But these are premium seats. Let's be realistic." Realistic? Yeah. That word always carries an extra meaning when people like them use it. The young flight attendant Mateo rushed over trying to keep his smile from shaking. "Let me check the manifest," he said, tapping his screen. And sure enough, the ticket was legit. "Mr. Hale is assigned to 1A. There's no error." You'd think that would settle it, but entitlement doesn't back down easily. "Check again," Mrs. Price said, raising her voice just enough so the entire cabin could hear. "People like him don't usually sit here. There must be some mistake." And let me tell you, when she said those words, the whole cabin shifted. Even the air got heavy. People like him. She said it like she was reading his worth off a label she didn't like the look of. Leon didn't flinch. But I saw something in his jaw tighten as if he'd been here before, as if he'd been here too many times. This is where the story could have turned into another sad little example of ignorance doing what ignorance does. But life had other plans, and so did Leon Hale. See, what nobody in this cabin knew yet was that this quiet, unassuming man was Dr. Leon E. Hale, founder of HaleTech Defense Systems, the company behind emergency response navigation hardware used in more than half the commercial aircraft flying in the country. The man literally helped build the system that kept planes like this one in the air, but he never bragged, never announced it. He just happened to be headed to Seattle that morning to finalize a federal contract worth more money than the Prices had dreamed of in their gated community lives. Mrs. Price, however, was too deep into her tantrum to realize she was poking at an electrical wire connected to the entire aviation industry. When Mateo politely asked her again to return to her seat, she did something I still can't believe I witnessed in real time. She opened her Fiji water bottle, tilted it, and poured the whole thing across the empty space beside Leon, letting it spill down onto his shoes. "Oh no," she said, fake surprise, "looks like his area is soaked." Guess he'll have to move now. Everyone gasped. Phones came out, instinctively. Because this was no longer an argument. This was an assault built on arrogance, prejudice, and the belief that nothing bad ever happens to people like her. Grant added fuel to the fire. Just move, man. Don't make this a thing. Leon stood up slowly, calm but sharp, the way a storm forms without thunder. He picked up his tablet, which now had water on the edges, checked it, then looked at the prices with an expression that wasn't anger, but disappointment. The kind that hits harder than shouting ever could. "All right," he said quietly. "I tried to handle this respectfully." Then he pulled out his phone, scrolled to a contact simply labeled Elias, emergencies only, and hit call. What followed changed the entire flight industry. "Elias," he said, voice low, steady, cold. "This is Hale. I'm on Redwood Air 219. Passenger safety is compromised. Crew control compromised. I'm declaring a code gray under the Hale contingency clause." You could have heard a pin drop. Mateo froze mid-breath. Someone whispered, "What's code gray?" But Leon kept talking, eyes locked on the prices. "Yes," he said. "Activate it. Ground the aircraft." Within 60 seconds, the captain was notified. Within 2 minutes, the FAA joined the call. Within 5 minutes, Redwood Air headquarters confirmed the order. Flight 219 was officially grounded. Permanently. For the day, I mean, not forever, but it sure felt that dramatic. The captain's announcement was steady but tense. "Ladies and gentlemen, due to an operational safety issue, we are returning to the gate. Please remain seated." You could see the confusion ripple across the cabin, and right in the middle of it, Mrs. Price snapped. "What for him?" You can't possibly be serious, but the panic in her eyes said she knew the answer. When we reached the gate, the VP of Passenger Relations boarded the plane with security legal counsel and 2 federal reps, all moving with the urgency of people who had been told they were handling a situation involving someone very important. She walked straight to Leon. "Dr. Hale," she said, "we apologize for what happened here. Redwood Air is fully cooperating with protocol." That was the moment the Prices' faces fell apart. "Doctor," what Mrs. Price whispered like her tongue had suddenly forgotten how to work. The VP continued, "Mrs. Price, you are being removed from this aircraft for assaulting another passenger and interfering with safety standards. You are also banned from all Redwood Air flights effective immediately." Grant tried the classic, "Do you know who we are?" routine, but the VP didn't even blink. "Sir, you're welcome to appeal the ban in writing. But for now, you will also be removed." I swear I saw a guy in business class fist pump quietly. As they were escorted out, Leon finally spoke directly to Mrs. Price. "You thought the problem was that someone like me was in this seat," he said softly. "But the real problem was that someone like you thought you had the right to decide where anyone belonged." The cabin went completely quiet. But here's what made this story stick in my mind even months later. After the Prices were gone, after we got a new crew, after the chaos settled, Leon sat back down in his seat, wiped the remaining droplets off his tablet, and reopened the engineering schematic he'd been studying like it was any regular Tuesday. No victory lap, no bragging, no fury. Just a man who had spent a lifetime being underestimated, and finally decided he wasn't shrinking anymore. Word of the incident spread fast, and fast turned into viral. The Hale contingency clause became legend overnight, a corporate nuclear option built to protect safety that ended up shining a light on dignity too. Airlines updated policies, crew training changed, and for once a story about injustice ended with someone actually facing consequences instead of excuses. A few weeks later, I saw a headline about Redwood Air launching their new Passenger Dignity Initiative with Leon Consulting. And part of me wondered how many people like him had gone through moments like that without the power to fight back. How many times the Prices of the world walked away thinking they'd won something. So let me ask you this, because honestly, people never agree on it. Did Leon go too far? Or did he finally do what thousands of passengers wished they could do but never had the power to? Was grounding the flight justice? Or revenge? Or something in between? Tell me what you think in the comments, because this one always sparks a fire. And if you've ever been judged dismissed or pushed out of a space, you earned share your story too. Someone out there needs to hear it. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and ring that bell if you want more real stories where power, pride, and justice collide. Because trust me, there are plenty more where this came from.